Good morning and welcome to my garden space. My name is Amy and this is day one. So to be honest, this isn't actually day one. I have things planted and I've been working in here. I've actually already redone several beds because they're getting really old and falling apart. But this is day one of documenting the process. I always feel like the garden season moves so slow and yet so fast. And I really just want a nice way to look back at it and maybe share it with some people along the way. So I'm just spacing out where I'm going to be putting my cabbages and admiring that my soil is full of worm castings, which is absolutely amazing. And there's a baby worm. Put you back. It feels so good to dig in your bed for the first time in the year and find so many worms and so much life and healthy soil. So I have some little red cabbages and green cabbages that have been in these little peat pellets way too long. So I'm hoping I can get them in the ground today and give them a little boost and they'll pick back up. I feel bad that I've squished them in here for so long. But we finally passed our, hopefully, last frigid day. Watch me eat my words when we get snow next week. Now you don't need to remove this netting around the peat pellets when you're planting them. The roots can get right through, it's not a problem. But they do tend to last in your garden and you'll find them at the end of the season, which I don't particularly love. So whenever the roots haven't grown through them too much, it's relatively easy to get them off. They're super easy to take off. But be really gentle, try not to rip any roots. Cool. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of fertilizer in the bottom of each hole, an organic fertilizer. I don't have any extra compost right now. I'm trying to decide if I want to put the broccoli in the middle row. I have broccoli and Romanesco, as well as my cabbages. My cabbages! And I can't. Here goes a sprinkle of fertilizer. All right, in they go. They are so dry right now. I didn't water them yet this morning. I'm gonna give them a nice drink of water right after I plant them to make sure that the soil doesn't dry them out. So if you plant in dry soil, the soil will act kind of like a dry sponge and just suck the water out of your plant. And you really don't want that. Don't make fun of me, but we don't have the water turned on yet because it's been too cold to have the hose on. So this is my watering can. You can tell. Just gonna give them a nice little soak. And let's keep going. So attractive in the garden. The most normal and flattering poses. You know what, let's do it. We're putting the broccoli or Romanesco in the middle. And I don't remember which is which. I don't tend to label things when I plant. It's a bad habit of mine. This is either broccoli or Romanesco, which is a type of broccoli, but definitely different. But, you know, I'd be happy to have either one come up here. Now, one new thing that I see a lot of new gardeners make the mistake of doing is when you're planting a start that you already have, for most plants, you don't want to bury the stem past where it's already growing out of the soil. You want to kind of match up the top of the soil line to the top of what you're planting in it. I know it can feel like a cheat if you have long, leggy seedlings to kind of bury up the stem. And with some things that works, like definitely tomatoes, and you can get away with it with peppers and some other things, but be wary. This wasn't meant to turn into a tutorial, but I can't resist. Now, when I say these videos weren't supposed to turn into tutorials, that does not mean I won't be teaching anything, because I've been gardening for a really long time and I can never talk too much about gardening. But the real reason I started this channel was to just document my process. Been inspired by a few people who have beautiful gardening channels on here, and I wanted to join in. I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for so very long, and this is the time I finally do it. So I hope you come along and join me. There we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, a dozen brassicas in the ground. Need more water to go water them, which I have to go inside to get. I think my plan was to plant some beet seeds around because by the time the cabbages and broccoli get too big and take over the space, the beets should be ready to harvest. And even if they aren't, beet greens are delicious and I prefer them to the actual beets. So if you see me looking that way, we put a nest box at the edge of my garden for bluebirds, and they're flying in. They're finally getting used to the fact that I'm here, and they'll come in when I'm in the garden. All right, time for beets. I have 5 different types of beets. All right, I'm currently balancing you on my lap. Don't know how well this is gonna go, but I just planted 5 types of beets. We have Boro, Detroit Dark Red, Ruby Red, Cylindra, and Chioggia, which I'm very excited. I planted a few seeds in each hole, which I normally don't do with beets because there's actually usually more than one sprout that will come from each seed in beets, not in every seed. But I organized my seed collection this year and I have quite a few 3 to 5 year old seeds that I'm trying to use up, so not expecting them all to come up. So I threw too many in there, and now I may have no beets and I may have a sea of beets, and we'll just have to wait and see. Now this whole bed, well, that's not true. This whole half of this bed is planted, and that was really my plan for the day. So I think I'm gonna check out, I know I didn't talk a ton today. I had some visitors in the yard, but I'll share more as we go along. I hope to check back in with you hopefully every day. I don't know if I can make that commitment, but we'll give it. To anyone who is watching this video at all or who watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you come back, and I hope you have a wonderful day.